Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago Sunday edition. Great to be here with all of you. Jon Zaghloul, John Meadows, the less buttoned up, but still, nonetheless, the more fun edition of STC. You can follow us all over at Sports Talk Chicago. Follow me personally at John Z Sports. Still want to shout out all of our great radio and TV affiliates at the top of your screen. 98.3 The Life, WKAN, 105.5 The Ticket, ACTV, GenTV, WJOB, Cities 92.9 Talk FM, and our new affiliate. We just aired with them yesterday morning for the first time. Should be the beginning of a huge partnership there in Peoria, 101.1 Peoria Sports Radio. We are on 8 stations now, all over Illinois and Indiana. We're working to add more as well, and we appreciate all of your support in making that happen. It's great to be here. A lot of Bears stuff today. We're going to go as long as we want. I want to make sure to mention that if you would like to join the conversation here today, it's the Sunday show. We're going to make this a tradition. If you want to be a part of what we're doing here today, it's pretty easy, actually. All you got to do is email us. Email sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. John and I have the email open. We can see when you message us. All you got to do is say, hey, look, I want to be on the stream. John will send you the StreamYard link. And then you can hop on with me live right here on the screen. We can talk about whatever you'd like in terms of Bears football. As long as you keep it clean, you're welcome. And Bears football, I should say anything for that matter. You want to talk about Cubs, White Sox, Bulls, Bears, random things, you're welcome to as long as we could keep it clean. We had a really good time last week. We had Les join us. He was our first ever live video guest on here. We had Ghost of Judah Tribe join us, and we had my man Aaron join us. And, for a lot of you who always, I appreciate all your comments, all of your support. I'd love to have you on here live. We could meet face-to-face virtually and talk about whatever you'd like, and everybody who's tuning in could hear what you have to say, too. So if you want to join us here today, very simple. Just email, just say, hey, I want to be on the live stream. sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. John will respond with the link to the StreamYard, and we're going to patch you right in right away. Couple of things we do want to discuss, at least to get the conversation started. We are going to be responsive to your comments at Nano CBD. John is killing it, a voice of reason in Chicago. Certainly appreciate that. You might be the only person who feels that way, but I appreciate it. I did want to start with this, and Nano, you might enjoy this. Others may or may not enjoy this, depending on where you stand. But big article recently came out. I can't believe it actually came out. It says, ranking Bears Justin Fields amongst NFC North quarterbacks. This was an article from Bears Wire, usually a pro Justin Fields publication. So they came out with this article. This was from an independent contracted employee, I believe. I don't think it was corporate, if you will. And it was basically a post about where does Justin Fields rank in terms of the 4 quarterbacks in the division right now. Now, this is not gauging potential. This is not gauging what could be. This is gauging what is. This is gauging what is today. I want to put that out there, make it clear. We can talk about one more thing, by the way. Side note, then I'll get to that. This show is freeform today. I will say this. And I saw a video this week. Somebody prominent in Bears media, he was asked a question about what the Bears should do, whether it's Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. So he talks about Caleb Williams, and he goes, well, all I hear about Caleb Williams is potential. We don't know what's really going to happen with him. Yet then he says, well, there's a lot of upside with Justin Fields. That's the same thing as potential. Then he says, well, there's a lot of upside with Fields, and I would keep Fields and trade the pick and get more back in return. You have more upside with Justin Fields. But he just said and was criticizing the Caleb Williams people for talking about potential. Yet with Justin Fields, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, it's the same thing. There's potential there, too. There's been no results. Just want to make sure, the words upside and potential, that's a distinction without a difference. It's just jargon. That's it. Criticizing people for talking about potential with Caleb Williams. He's making hand motions. All I hear about is potential. And then he immediately flip-flops and goes, well, with Justin Fields, there's a lot of upside. Well, what's that mean? It means that as of today, there's been nothing. Upside means that in the future, there could be more. But as of right now, he has not lived up to his potential. That's what he effectively was saying. But if you point that out, you're going to get killed. So anyway, let's talk about the top quarterbacks in the NFC North. And this article came from Bears Wire. Number 1. Let me say this first. Hey, anybody there? You can guess where Justin Fields is going to be in the comments, and you let me know. Okay? Where do you think Justin Fields ranks in this article amongst every single NFC North quarterback? That's what I want you to think about as I read through this. So number 1 is Jordan Love. So Fields is not number 1. They rank Jordan Love as the best quarterback in the NFC North. And you know what? I don't blame him. Jordan Love went 9-8, first ever year as a starter. Keep that in mind, too. This is his first year ever playing a full schedule and being the starting quarterback. He went 9-8, 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 picks. And here's what the article says. Going forward with his age and potential, it's hard to see him as anything other than the best quarterback in this division until proven otherwise. He's going to win a lot of games in this league. If 2023 was Love's floor, his ceiling is going to be impressive. Yeah, they're not wrong. Number 2 is Jared Goff. So, Jared Goff had another great season this past year, 12-5. Well, yeah, record matters. Yes, it does. When you win, it counts for you, too. He went 12-5. He was a winning quarterback. 4,500 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 12 picks. He had more yards than Jordan Love, right about the same in terms of touchdown to interception ratio, and he won the division in Detroit. Goff is second best per this article because of what he did in 2023, but he's 29 years old. There's some really good football left in Goff, and the Lions have put a great support group around him. Number 3 is Kirk Cousins. The Vikings may or may not bring him back. Now, this past year, he was hurt. He played in 8 games until he got hurt, and he didn't do bad. 18 touchdowns, 5 picks, 2,300 passing yards in 8 games. Pretty impressive. Cousins is older. You know what you're going to get. I will say that if you take pretty much any season that Cousins has played for and put that in a Bears uniform, he would be by far the best Bears quarterback in history. So for those who hate Kirk Cousins or crap on him or say, oh yeah, Captain Kirk never wins, well, he'd be the best quarterback in Bears history by a mile if he played 2 years in Chicago. So he's third. And we get to fourth. So who guessed this? This was, who got it right? King Zing, Ron, and Nano all projected him to be last. Oh, no. EV said Nano fourth as well. And then here's Justin Fields. So here's what the article says. I'll read most of it here. It is unfortunate to say that Justin Fields has not taken the proper steps that suggest he's a game-changing player. The Bears were certainly hoping for more up to this point. You can't say that out loud. In 2023, Fields played 13 games where he went 5-8. He threw for 2,500-plus passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 9 picks. That is just not good enough. An injection of opinion into this article. Watch out. But he did rush for 657 yards. Well off of the pace of his 1,100-plus rushing yards in 2022. A lot of that has to do with poor coaching, but it doesn't absolve Fields of failing to reach expectations as a quarterback. It also says to end, in terms of Justin Fields' piece, the Bears will go nowhere with the fourth-best quarterback in the NFC North. They need to be sure he's going to be better than that or move on. They have the number 1 pick in the 2024 draft. Will they use it to address this position? If they don't, they will move forward with the worst quarterback in the division once again. This is a great article. Thank you. That's what it says. Okay? Whether people want to hear it or not, whether people get mad about it, cry, go ahead, unsubscribe to the channel if you don't like it, right? At the end of the day, this is the truth of the matter. This is what this is. It's not just me. You think, oh yeah, you got a personal vendetta. No, I don't have a personal vendetta against Justin Fields. I don't give 2 blanks either way, really. If he's good, I'm happy because he's performing. If he's not, yeah, I'm going to criticize it because something needs to give. And I'm fair to everybody. Others may not be. And I know of people I could call out who are not fair, but I'm not going to do that. So, yeah. This article came from somebody who is not me, who is not anybody I even know, who just looks at the situation with, a head on his body and then says, oh, yeah, he is the worst quarterback in the division. Yeah, we got people out here, some people who know football, some people who are just fanboys waving the Justin Fields pom-poms, who say, yeah, he's elite. Yeah, he's the best. Yeah, he's so good. And we have legitimate, rational people who sit there and laugh because it's a frickin' joke. I mean, think about this for a minute. You got people out there peddling the idea that Justin Fields is some amazing, top-of-the-line, great quarterback. I've had people in this chat call him elite. I've had people in this chat call me a hater. That's true. I've had people in this chat talk about so many different things. Yet when I ask for justification, it's always, well, he's just elite and you're being a hater. He's just that good. Yes, he's amazing. Okay. Well, here's somebody who is unbiased, who I don't know this person at all. I just read an article, pops up, and that's what it says, that he's the worst in the division. He is the worst quarterback in this division. And when you stack him up against Jordan Love, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, he's not even in the same category. Oh, but Kirk Cousins sucks. Yeah. When's the last time Justin Fields, or I guess any Bears quarterback, thrown for 4,000 yards? Oh, that's right. Never. That's right. Jordan Love, in his first year ever starting, threw for 4,000. But he's got everything. No, he doesn't. He's the youngest roster in football. The youngest roster in football. If anything, he is one of the worst rosters, one of the worst support systems to date in football, and he did what he did this year. Again, I got to rest my case. So here we go with more people understanding and seeing the truth of the matter when it comes to Justin Fields. This is not to say that he's a bad person. This is not to say that he's a horrendous, ruined quarterback, because he's not. He could get better. But I'm saying right now, he is the worst quarterback in the division. And if the Bears choose to stick with him and his fans choose to stick with him, then you are, by effect, endorsing mediocrity. That's what you're doing. If you're sitting around, actually, let's say you had a pick between Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins, right? And then Justin Fields. So, you're just a fan, and let's say in this alternate reality that you could pick between one of those four quarterbacks to lead your team today. Any of you who choose Justin Fields are just being fanboys. And you're looking at, I love Justin Fields so much. I think he's going to be great. I want to take him because I believe in him because he's a good guy and he's a Bear, right? See, if I were smart, if it were me, I'd take Jordan Love all day. And that's not because I'm a Packers fan. It's because Jordan Love, as young as he is, in his first year starting, threw for 4,000 yards. Imagine after 2 or 3 years of understanding and learning the NFL, this guy's going to be throwing for 5,000, winning MVPs at that point. In fact, I would argue Jordan Love was a dark horse MVP candidate this entire season. Look what he did. Look at the numbers he put up and what he did with that team. But no, you can't say it. You can't say it. Can't spit it out loud. John, you want to say something?
I do. I want to take a little bit of a pivot here, and because read Philip's comment here, because I really want to talk about that, because I seriously have this concern as well.
Hi, John. I don't want my statement to be JF1 versus CW. If the Bears draft CW, what makes you think the Bears can develop him into a franchise QB when they never have before? I don't disagree with you. And I want to make it clear, and I've said this before, Philip, and I'll say it again. Just by saying that Justin Fields sucks, that doesn't mean that I'm saying, yes, Caleb Williams is going to be the answer. And I promise everybody here, as you know, that if he sucks, I'm going to hold him to the fire for it, right? I'm going to hold him accountable for his missteps or his positivity and what he does in a Bears uniform. But it is a fair point. Do I think that they've necessarily even set him up for success today? Well, if Matt Eberflus is still the head coach, then no. No, because the Bears half-assed their rebuild. I will say that. 100%. Usually when, a team fails or tanks or sputters out of control, you fire everybody, you bring new people in, and you rebuild. Well, the fact is, all they did was fire Luke Getsy and blamed him effectively for the team going 7-10 this year. Unfortunately, I think we can all agree that it wasn't just Luke Getsy for what went wrong. Justin Fields played a role in it. The Bears roster played a role in it. Matt Eberflus, Alan Williams. Yep, I'm going to say his name, whether people want to hear it or not. Buzzword. All right, you don't like it, you could leave. But Alan Williams played a role in it, right? That the running backs coach who got fired mid-year played a role in it. There are a lot of people who played a role in how bad the Bears did this year. I will say that. And yet, the Bears' only action was firing Luke Getsy. And while that was certainly part of it, Here's the problem that they're going to face now with the whole Caleb Williams thing. Let's say they draft Williams, they bring him in. Okay, here's a new offensive coordinator. You're under the same head coach. What if the Bears this year go 6-11? Well, then Eberflus is going to be fired. Then Williams is going to be under a new coach. He may or may not have the same offensive coordinator. I mean, if a new coach comes in, he might want to hire his own guy. Maybe he's an offensive guy. Then there's going to be a whole different regime. So I would say that there is no guarantee that Williams will even develop into a superstar, whether it's because he's a bust or whether it's because the Bears can't develop quarterbacks. But I'll say this right now. For any quarterback who comes in, they're already behind the 8 ball. Justin Fields would be too, though, and here's why. New offensive coordinator. See, if Justin Fields stays, the Bears hold on to him, then he doesn't do well. The excuse is going to be, well, he's at his 4th offensive coordinator in 5 years, or whatever the 4 and 4 years, whatever it is. Or 3rd and 4 years. I'm sorry. So either way, whether it's Justin or Caleb, whether it is, Justin or Drake May, whether it's some free agent signing, which they won't do, but if they even go there, right now, the way it stands, nobody is set up for success if you're going to be a quarterback in a Bears uniform based on the moves that they made with their coaching staff this offseason, who they failed to fire and who they decided to hire. All of that does not set up any quarterback on this team for success right now. That includes Justin Fields, that includes Caleb Williams, that includes Drake May, or anybody else. So, Phillip, you bring up a good point. And that's why I've continued to say, and that's why you haven't heard me, there are some people out there who kind of pivot the other way, like they say, I'm a huge Justin Fields hater, but I love Caleb Williams. I've never said that once. And usually when I hate on Justin Fields, I'm doing it from a place of, well, these are just legitimate numbers, take it or leave it. But you never really hear me say, all right, I hate Justin Fields, but I love Caleb Williams. The Bears have to take him. No, not necessarily, because you never know. I mean, he could be a bust, or he could not be developed properly because the Bears already are going to have him behind the 8 ball walking in the door, or Drake May, or whoever walks in the door. Because let's say Caleb Williams walks in. The Bears go 6-11, but he does very good, maybe, promising good young first season, but then they fire Matt Eberflus. And Caleb liked working with the offensive coordinator, Waldron, they just hired. But then Eberflus is fired. Well, then Waldron's probably going to be fired. Then a new head coach and maybe a new GM, maybe a new coordinator is going to come in, right? So then all this stuff is going to happen to Williams. Then he's going to suck. So it is true that there are no guarantees here. I just think, personally, we've seen enough from Justin Fields to know he's not the guy. So at this point, you got to figure something else out. I mean, you have to. You can't stick with Justin Fields knowing who he is and what he does. We know who Justin Fields is. Highlight reel quarterback at times, mainly with his legs. Can't really pass much, can't really read, can't really do a lot. Still runs into sacks, still misses people wide open. That's Justin Fields. So, I'm not saying that there's a perfect answer even to this question. And I'm not saying that if they draft Caleb Williams, their quarterback worries are going to go away. Because the Bears already, in the way that they've addressed their coaching staff this year, it's going to be a problem. Mitch Trabersky, I'd like to get on live with you. Well, Mitch, shoot me an email. As you can see, I pinned it, right? So I pinned the comment. Anybody who wants to get on live with me right now, you can. Just email me, sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. And then, as long as you email, John and myself, we will send you the link to the StreamYard, and you can come on live with me. So you're welcome to come on live with me. We could have a fun, clean, spirited debate or discussion or whatever, but you need to email us so we can get you the link. But, yeah, so there's kind of my take. I know, John, I appreciate you directing me to that. Something I missed as we were talking through it. But, yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. And here's Nano right now. Bears just hired Waldron as the new OC. Waldron was a collective coach and teacher in L.A. Oh, okay. And then Williams trains at the QB collective in L.A. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, too. I don't know. I don't know what Waldron's going to be. All I say is this, though. You almost have to root for the Bears to do well, right? Because if they don't, they might fire Waldron and Eberflus. And then at that point, you're going to have a situation in which you have a quarterback who doesn't have an offensive coordinator who's going to need to learn again. And that's not going to be good either. So really, it's a tough situation the Bears have put themselves in already. We're not even into the first game of 2024 yet, and that's because they don't know what they're doing over there.
So no, and this is a random comment, but what Philip was saying, and and other people have said that as well, and myself included. And and I think about this a lot. Like, you can't say we took Mahomes. I feel like it'd be the same thing. Like we would have made the playoffs once, and then.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then that's it.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And I'm not taking it away from Mahomes, but, and I'll die on this hill. All of the great quarterbacks, every once in a while they'll drag their team, kicking and screaming to either a Super Bowl or an NFC or, a championship or something like that. But if you don't have a good team, you can have the best quarterback on the planet. If you don't have a team around them, I don't, I could see Mahomes playing with a constant concussion for 4 years being here in Chicago. That's I'm more than happy to go get Caleb Williams, but I have a deep-seated fear that we're just gonna ruin the kid. We're just gonna, say what you want about Fields, we bag him on all the time, but he has had his ass kicked for the past 3 years.
Oh yeah.
He's gotten injured every year, right?
He has. He's missed time every single season. Now, I will say this. He's a mobile quarterback too, right? So, right. There's he's gotten his butt kicked. He's also made dumb decisions in terms of when to slide or when not to slide. But yes, he's missed time every year. And I think that's, it goes both ways. Not amazing protection, and also Fields just not making some of the best decisions in terms of running. But also, John, we have Mitch Trubisky who did email us. So you want to hook him up with the link, we can get him up here.
I want to respond to Leonidas, and maybe I need to be more clear about. I agree with Leonidas. You can't, quote unquote, ruin a player. You can't take away their talents or things like that. But you can keep a player and mire them in a horrible career for. Teams do that all the time. Teams do that all the time, and I'm not even talking about the Bears. No, so. That's what I'm more playing. That's more what I'm saying.
So we're gonna get the link to Mitch Trubisky here in a minute, and he's gonna hop in. Curious to see what he comes. So I'm wondering, by the name Mitch Trubisky, does that mean he's a Mitch supporter, or does that mean he's here to troll me? I guess we're gonna find out. Just keep it clean, all right? Let's keep it clean, right? Keep it clean. We're gonna be fine. So yeah, we're going to get you that link. I'll make sure that I'm hooked up with my... Okay, the link is sent to Mitch Trubisky. Am I hooked up with the headphones? Oh, you know what? Hold on just a quick second. Yeah. We're good. See, this is live. We're doing it live, people. All right. Get this hooked up. Yeah, we're fine. We're good. Everybody understands. Okay. I know I feel connected now. You're good. All right. There we go. And let's see if we can see if he's here. Mitch. Okay, we're good then. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky, we just sent you the link, and you're welcome to hop on in whenever you're ready. Just like Alex Brown said, keep trying till they find the right QB. Took KC years to find Mahomes, and they nailed it. Yeah, they did. I'll say this: Alex Smith certainly played a serviceable role for them too. And maybe the Bears. I don't know what they're going to do. But that's something interesting to think about as well.
All righty, here we go.
Is he here?
Yes. So we are welcoming Mitch Trubisky to the stage. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Boy.
I'm not trolling.
Let's see. Can I hear him? I can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
No, I don't hear him right now. So hold on, Mitch. We're going to get you in here in a second. Let's make sure that I can hear you okay. And we'll,
1 2 1 2.
okay.
Can you hear me
I
now?
hear myself. Hey, Mitch, can you say something now?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Excellent. Not here to troll anybody.
All right, you're good.
I totally agree with you. After 3 years, if you don't know, if you still have questions, it's time to move on. But I just wanted to run a quick trade by you guys, see if you think, because Caleb, I agree, Caleb has the goods. I believe I've seen, the TTNL where they do the breakdown of Caleb, and so I'm a believer. But the only issue that I have is that I think he needs to sit a year. So why not trade Fields to Seattle, bring over Geno for 1 or 2 years, get Geno, trade up Fields, maybe get Geno a 3rd or 4th round pick with him, let Caleb sit a year. Geno knows the offense and he can teach him. I don't want to throw Caleb into the fire right away. That's where the hesitation is. But I don't want to keep Fields either, because you got to pay him. If you keep him, you got to, do the 5th-year option. But I really, and whatever quarterback that they choose that they want, whether it's Daniels, May, McCarthy, especially McCarthy, he's so young. They need to sit at least a year, learn the offense from a vet that knows the offense, and let the chips fall where they may. But just don't throw them out into the fire, because that's the mistake they did the last 2 times, and it just doesn't work.
I will agree. I'm 100% with you on that. And I don't know, people have watched my channel for a couple of years, and I guess you're Mitch Trubisky, you are correct, right? I didn't think they should have thrown Fields into the fire when they did. I thought Fields should have sat that whole season. Instead they put him in, and, obviously things went the way that they did. They had Andy Dalton. Now, am I saying Andy Dalton's the answer? No. But if Andy Dalton started for a whole season, right, and then you put in Fields after learning from Andy Dalton and learning on the sideline, and then Nagy got fired anyway, I think it would have been a much better transitional period for Fields' sake, right? Same with Mitch. I mean, Mitch also his rookie year didn't start, then everybody clamored to put him in, then they put him in over Mike Glennon. And the same with Justin Fields. Everybody was begging, clamoring to put him in, and it is true. They've been reporting, in terms of public opinion, actually did partially influence the Bears in terms of putting him in. I am not opposed to sitting Caleb Williams for a whole year. I don't know if they're going to do that trade. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I doubt it's going to happen, but I will say you're not off on that thought at all in terms of sitting Caleb for a year. People may not want to hear that. I see some people don't, but you know what? Hey, Jordan Love sat. Look what happened to him, right? Aaron Rodgers sat. Look what happened with him. I don't think it's a dumb idea, considering that there could even be more turmoil, right? Because let's say the Bears don't do well. They could fire Waldron. They could fire Eberflus. Then there's going to be a new OC and a new coach coming in anyway that Williams is going to have to learn from. I'm not opposed to that idea, man.
Just rinse and repeat. At the very least, if they can't pull off that trade, Drew Lock is a free agent. They can sign him. That's your vet right there. He knows the offense. He can teach Caleb the offense in and out. And maybe not even sit him a whole year. Maybe have Lock just start the first 6-8 games and have that understanding.
Right.
Let the kid learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let him get his reps on the side. But, it doesn't have to be a whole year. You just can't keep making the same mistake and expecting different results. It's just not going to work, man.
I think about a lot, like the whole Bryce Young and the C.J. Stroud thing, and they were both rookies. It's 50-50. Obviously, Bryce's situation is a little bit different, but that. I keep looking at him like that poor kid. Like he was supposed to be the Panthers' savior, and he just got destroyed. And
they destroyed Fields from his first start with Cleveland. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's got PTSD. That's why he hesitates in the pocket. That first game, ruined him. Just the first game. How do you recover from something like that? I mean,
and that was Matt Nagy, of course, and not even kidding. Because again, I read an article. I remember when Nagy got fired, where the direction came from McCaskey to put in Fields due to the mounting public pressure to put him in. I mean, that was written in an article by one of the Bears beat writers. So, yeah, I'm fully with you. They put him in, they throw him to the Wolves. He got sacked, 9 times in that game? That's how his career begins? That's horrible. That's not the right way you want to. And I know, some people say throw him into the Wolves. I get that. And, there are two different schools of thought there. But, if it worked for Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers just in this division alone, I don't think it's a dumb idea to sit Williams even for a couple of games, not have him be there, the full-time guy right away and throw him into the Wolves. C.J. Stroud worked out, in my opinion. That's just unbelievable and good for them. Bryce Young didn't work out playing that way, and that team is decimated and horrendous anyway, much like the Bears are. So maybe they should sit him, right? I agree.
I mean, that's really all I have to say, man. But
yeah. Well, Mitch Trubersky, thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it, dude. You're welcome back anytime. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Awesome.
That's cool.
All right. Mitch Trubersky starting us off today. I loved it. Remember, everybody, you're welcome to come on in and give your own opinions on anything you want as long as you keep them clean. You can shoot me an email, sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. The comment is pinned in the live chat from me. So if you want to come in and hop in and give your take, Mitch Trubersky starting us off strong this week. You can chime on in.
So can let's take a complete pivot. There's something that the guy talk about. Can we at least take a few minutes and celebrate Mongo and Hester?
Yes.
Getting into the Hall of Fame like that. When I got that news, I didn't even, I wanted to watch the Super Bowl and stuff, but that was, I could have just turned off the first quarter and been happy the rest of the day. Like I really wanted Hester in there, and of course, I really wanted McMichael in there. That is, and I was surprised by the Peppers thing. I didn't even know he was on the radar. Like having 3 Bears go into the Hall of Fame, that just, I was elated. I was on cloud 9, and I just want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I've been going back and been looking at the 2005 and stuff like that. Like if we don't get Hester, I don't think we get into the Super Bowl. I think we get into the playoffs and stuff. But there's, I'm just elated that they.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's a good thing to discuss, and I know there's been so much going on. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about it yet. We're going to do it now, though, for sure. I mean, so let's start with Hester. I think Hester is a no-brainer for what he did. He was the best at his position. That's the argument that I make to anybody who kind of wonders whether or not he should have been there or shouldn't have. And I know maybe you guys remember from a couple of months ago, we had Armando Salguero on the program from Outkick. He is an NFL Hall of Fame voter. And I asked him about Hester, and then he said, well, people talk about, what else did he do? And I said, but he was the best at his position. He agreed, and I'm happy to finally see everybody kind of take that position and put him in. He was the best at what he did. Now, you could argue, well, what he did didn't matter. Well, it mattered to the Bears because at the time in which Hester was here, he made impacts every single game. I mean, it got to the point where they were kicking away from him. It got to the point, frankly, where they changed the rules on kickoffs because of him. Because he was so successful at what he did, they made it so difficult now to return kicks. And today, you're lucky if you see 2 kick returns a year that go back for a touchdown. That's all thanks to Devin Hester. That's all thanks to Devin Hester. So I think him getting in was a no-brainer initially. Yes, was he a failed cornerback who they tried to turn into a wide receiver? That really didn't work. Yeah, of course he was. Yes, that's true. But in terms of what he did for the team and what he did at his position, he should be there. It's like in baseball. Like, in my opinion, Jeff Kent should be in the Hall of Fame. Why? Because Jeff Kent has the most home runs ever for any second baseman in Major League Baseball history. If you're the best at your position, you should be there because it's called the Hall of Fame. If you're the greatest at that thing that you did, you should be there. That's why, is Adam Vinatieri going to make the Hall of Fame? I sure hope so. right? One of the best, if not the best kicker of all time. He lasted as long as he did. He was a part of so many clutch moments. He kicked from 24 to 46, right? So, that's kind of my philosophy on that. Other people may have different thoughts, but if you're that good at what you do, then there's a reason why the Hall of Fame is there, and there's a reason why you should be there. So for Hester, that's a pretty no-brainer for me. Julius Peppers is also, in my opinion, a no-brainer. I mean, Peppers retired with 159 and a half sacks. That's literally, I can't even imagine. That's such a large number. It's top 10 in NFL history. So he was great. Julius Peppers certainly had a storied career in football. A lot of it was done, of course, with the Panthers, but some of it was done here in Chicago. In fact, as I look at the numbers now, he's actually fourth all-time in sacks. Only 4 guys above him, Bruce Smith, Reggie White, Kevin Green. Then it's Julius Peppers, out of all people. He is one of the greatest pass rushers of all time. That's a fact based on that number alone. So it's a no-brainer that he's in the Hall of Fame. And I remember when the Bears acquired him, it was a big deal. And, did he have his best years in Chicago? Well, I would say this, that one of them was, for sure, back in 2012 when he had 11 and a half sacks. I believe that tied a career high for him. Well, no, actually, it was second all time. He had better years in Carolina, but he certainly was no pushover in Chicago. He had a couple of good years here. Then he went back to Carolina, went to Green Bay as well. He was a great pass rusher. And even up until the end, he was 37 years old, put up 11 sacks, and didn't even start in every single game for Carolina that year at 37. He was dominant from when he broke into the league to when he retired. He had a long stretch of dominance, and it's well-deserved that he's in the Hall of Fame, I would say, too. And it's great to see that he got in. And then, obviously, Steve Mongo McMichael, battling health issues currently. Unfortunately, Mongo was a great pass rusher. He had 95 sacks in limited time. It's not like he played forever. Somebody like Julius Peppers, of course, was a huge part of the Bears winning the Super Bowl, larger-than-life personality, and somebody who deserves to be there, too. Oh, yeah.
Because it was a lot more of a run heavy league. So, in a pass heavy league, you're going to rack up more sacks because you're constantly getting in there. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and a good way to put it too. At the time, it's not like there were just amazing opportunities for sacks. Some quarterbacks, you're lucky if you're throwing 20 times a game, which means you're only getting 20 opportunities really to sack a quarterback. The fact that he put up 95 playing from 1980 to 94, that's not that long of a time to put up the numbers that he did. And even near the end, 35 years old in the Bears uniform, putting up 10 and a half sacks in a season. Another guy who had sustained success for a while in football. Top 100 all-time in sacks for sure. Let's see here. Even safeties. He's actually third all-time in safeties even. Mongo was a very solid football player. And certainly somebody who's deserving. I'm just happy he got in before, he passed away. And I'm happy that he was alive to see it happen. Unfortunately, we see some Hall of Fames, they don't get it right? They put people in, unfortunately, after they pass away. Ron Santo's a great example, a guy who wanted to get in forever. Then they pass away. Then he passed away. Then they put him in. So it's great to see that Mongo was still alive, was aware, heard the news, and knows that he's getting in no matter what. And certainly somebody who's deserving. So, 3 Bears who make, in my opinion, they're going to make this class Bear-centric and Bear-heavy. I know a lot of other people got in. Not even a lot, but some others got in. But Mongo is a larger-than-life story right now in and of itself. Hester should have been their first ballot. I'm happy he's finally in. And Julius Peppers, I don't know. He's more of a Panther, but he had a couple of really memorable. The time in which he was here in Chicago, those were memorable times in Bears history, which makes him a Bear, too. So 3 Bears to get in like that is awesome, and it's huge for the team. It's huge for their image across the league. I will say this. Let's hope that now, moving forward, we can see more success. I love honoring the Bears of old. And this is where I always go back to, they're such a storied franchise. They really are. They've had so many Hall of Famers. They've had so many great eras and years. Their history, they're one of the founding franchises of football. But then we fast forward to 2024 and we're like, what the hell went wrong? So I'm hoping that, as we honor the past, and we always should, in terms of this team, that we could also look towards the future for once and say, wow, here are some Hall of Famers today that I'm watching that I could see. And I think that time is to come, but it's great to see all these guys get in and make it Bears heavy. Mitch Trubisky? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. No, I'm kidding. Not him. Somebody else. Talking about other people, guys. Sports Talk Chicago. Jon Zaghloul here with you. John Meadows directing, producing, and contributing on today's Sunday free-for-all, Sunday extravaganza. Remember, you can follow us all over at Sports Talk Chicago. Hit up our great radio and TV affiliates at the top of your screen. Had a great first guest already, Mitch Trubisky, hopping on in, giving us his take on what the Bears should do with Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, how they should navigate this quarterback conundrum. If you have thoughts, if you have ideas, come on in. Join us. Oh, I got an email from somebody here. Can't hear your guest, John Meadows. That's what I was told.
Let me see.
And I don't know, whoever emailed that to us, too, do you want to get on the show? I don't know if you do. Let me take a look at that email. Gotcha. Can't hear your guest, John. Okay. I'm going to let him know. Thank you. Yeah, it says we can't hear you. So I appreciate the email from, I don't know who this was specifically, but I do appreciate the email. There's no name on it. Thank you for that. And if you want to join the show, and that's what I was going to say, if anybody out there, the chat is hot. Hey, you want to come join me live right now, face-to-face, let's have a conversation, and join us. Join us here on STC. You got to do it. You just got to email us, sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com, and you're welcome to hop on in. We had a great first guest in Mitch Trubisky. Certainly enjoyed the conversation. You're all welcome to come on with me and have a debate, have a talk, discuss Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, life, whatever it is. We want to have you on and join us. So you're welcome to email us and have us be here. And we're looking forward to having more engagement with our fans and friends of this show. That's always fun. So John's going to work on that mic stuff. But I appreciate the email and the comments. Let's see here. 3 teams Fields beat, fired their coach. He always plays good versus Detroit, so did Mitch, and that win versus the Vikings was defense and Santos. Well, they did win that game 12-9, so by definition, it was defense and Santos. Fields donated Denver that win, too. Coaches make Fields too robotic. 70-plus turnovers in 3 years. It's coaching, though. Didn't do anything in the fourth quarter versus Cleveland. And that's where it goes to, what game are we watching, right? Fields has had many good moments in the National Football League, but he's had a bunch of bad moments too. Even this past year, for when we talk about progress, when we talk about potential, I would argue he took a step back this season. Whether people want to admit it or not, that's up to you. So it's something to keep in mind there too. Did you want to contribute, John? You want to say something?
No, I'm figuring out the audio stuff why people couldn't hear me.
Okay.
So, when I'm sitting here talking about the Hall of Fame, I'm talking about this stuff, and it's probably a button issue.
Well, I think your mic's on now, and anybody, if you're out there, you want to comment, let me know if you can hear John now. That's John Meadows. That's our producer and director and our contributor here on our Sunday shows, which I love. It's awesome. JF only played 2 solid games, Broncos and Commanders. Take away those 2 games, you'd have 8 TDs in 11 games. Fair point. At the end of the day, that Broncos game, was solid, but he did kind of help to blow it, too. So,
yeah, he did.
I don't know about that one. Okay, yes, we can hear John now. Okay, good. Great. Beautiful. Thank you, Blue Waves, for the comment. And, again, you're all welcome to join me. Nano, CBD, MVP, any of you. Anyone who's commenting or just hopping in for the first time, want to hop on with me live, email me, sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. I got the Gmail open. Anybody who wants to come on in and contribute, be part of the conversation here today, you are welcome. We're going to be live for at least another 45 minutes to an hour. So, hop on in.
So I do have a question. This is to you, John, and this to everybody in the chat as well. Obviously we're dominated by Fields and Williams, news and everything else. When it comes to the draft time, now we have other picks. In your opinion, who else do we need to get?
It's a good point. Here's what I think. Here are the positions that I think the Bears need to address besides quarterback. I'll answer it that way.
Yep.
I will say that right now there are other holes on this team besides quarterback, which is a fair point. We fixate on quarterback so much because it's just so important to a football team. Nevertheless, there are other things that need to be fixed for this team. I'd love to see a WR2/3 kind of come on in. Maybe they draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and they have a 1A, 1B with DJ Moore. I don't see them doing it, but if they did, that'd be great. Otherwise, they need another wide receiver who's competent because aptly, right, you're kind of left with, okay, what else? They do need another wide receiver. They need a center, right? They need somebody who can actually snap the damn football correctly and somebody who's younger.
Need a center.
That's a desperate issue for sure. Potentially a running back in the later rounds. I don't think that's a stupid idea. At the end of the day, you're only going to be able to have what you have for so long. Roschon Johnson didn't get a ton of opportunities last year. I think Khalil Herbert is not going to last as long as he thinks. So you could use another running back, a younger guy, fresh set of legs to be an RB2, RB3 maybe. Defensively, I'd love to see them add another pass rusher. Montez Sweat did great in the time that he was here. I'd love to see one more kind of join the fray and join him in what he's doing. Maybe some secondary help too. So, there are a lot of different positions the Bears have to draft. And I would say this, we kind of, they have the number one pick, so of course we're going to fixate on it again. But, days 2 and 3 of the draft, rounds 3, 4 through 7, the Bears could make high-impact moves in those rounds, and they have before, to their credit. David Montgomery was a second-round pick, right? Darnell Mooney was a fifth-round pick. Velus Jones, no, I'm just kidding, but he was a third-round pick. So they could make an impact, good or bad, in the later rounds. I mean, Velus Jones has certainly made an impact. Hasn't been a good one, but he's made an impact. So you can make an impactful draft pick in rounds 2 through 7, and it's important for us to do our best to fixate on that because at the end of the day, who knows what you could find? Who knows which diamond in the rough player you could find? I give Ryan Pace credit. He was really good at that. Ryan Pace found David Montgomery. He found Khalil Herbert. He found Darnell Mooney. There are a lot of guys that Ryan Pace was able to find in rounds 2, 3 through 7. Ryan Poles has not been gifted yet into doing that, but maybe this year he hits it big with somebody late and they can make an impact too. It's going to be important for sure, but those are some of the positions that I think the Bears need to take a look at, a serious look at too, because, even with the quarterback, which is going to be integral and huge, there's always going to be another spot on your team that you need to improve upon. There's always going to be another opportunity for you to get better. And, you have to use the draft to get better. And here's an opportunity right now for the Bears to make an impact in those later rounds and make something happen. And I think they could certainly do it if they play their cards right and do the things that they need to do and assess the positions that they need to assess, for sure. I think that's crucial and very important, and I'm hoping that they do it. Let's see here. Look at history. Running QBs don't win Super Bowls. Have to throw up in the pocket. Goal should always be a Super Bowl. Fields in the Denver game played good quarters 1 through 3, and his fourth quarter Denver was so trash, fumbled, returned for a touchdown. What do you say against the narrative that Fields had all the wide receivers with high drop rates besides Moore and Komet? Here's what I'll say to that, Mike, actually. That's a very good point. I'll say that he did not have a perfect wide receiving core. I'll be honest. Now, it comes with a couple of caveats. First of all, you're right, Moore and Komet delivered, so we can't criticize them. So he had 2 preferred targets that actually produced. Some quarterbacks have none of them, right? So he had 2. Secondly, I don't blame Darnell Mooney for the tough season that he had. I might be in the minority here, but I'll tell you what. Half the time, no, 3/4 of the time that I saw Fields throw to Mooney, It was always just out of reach. They just never connected this year. And Fields always overthrew Mooney. And there were times where Mooney dropped it fair and square, yes, but the majority of the time, it was an impossible catch that he was expecting Mooney to make, or that Chicago was expecting Mooney to make, that, unfortunately, you just can't do it, right? Sometimes you just can't make that play. I'll also say this. Jordan Love had the youngest roster in football with him. He had a bunch of nobodies catching passes for him. And obviously he put up yards.
Ball around.
Right. Nobody on the Packers got 1,000 receiving yards. Nobody did. There were 5 or 6 different people, all of whom I have no idea who they are, who were putting up 500-yard, 600-yard seasons. So you are correct, Mike, that did Justin Fields have everything? No, he didn't. Were there gaps? 100%. 100%. He did not have the best wide receiving core in football. But there are other quarterbacks who have it worse, number one, and there are others who have it worse and did better, like Jordan Love, number 2. So, unfortunately, when people try to bring up that narrative, it's okay to make excuses here and there for Fields based on what you perceive to be a problem. Is the Bears' wide receiving core a problem? Yeah, it is. But what did Fields do with what he was given? As a quarterback, you're supposed to elevate the people around you, right? You're supposed to make the best out of a tough situation. Justin Fields did not help himself in terms of that tough situation. He didn't. He did not help himself. That's why there's an issue with that argument, because I could say all day that he had the worst this, the worst that, right? I could say all day that this wasn't the best outcome for him. He didn't have this best guy. Well, the best quarterbacks in football don't have the best people around them all the time, and they still win. Or they still make the guys better around them who usually aren't superstars necessarily. Fields did not and has not done it yet, and that's the problem. So it's a really good question. And, I'd love to hear people answer it more the way I just answered it, not because I want to hear myself talk, but because, sincerely, I agree and I will concede that it was not perfect for Fields. But what did you do with what you were given? What did you do with what you were given? And the fact is, not much. Not much. He didn't help himself. Fields threw for 3,500 yards and, really had a good year, and the Bears went 5-12. It's a different story too, right? Like, let's say the Bears this past year went 7-10, but Fields threw for 4,000 yards. I'd barely blame Fields for anything, because at that point, hey, guys, he's helping himself. You guys got to help me, right? But what it was this year was kind of really, hey, Fields, we kind of got you some weapons, and it was kind of the same old song and dance from you, and it's your 3rd year. That's not really adding up, and that's what I think really happened this season with him. That's the issue. Let's see. We can't expect to have an all-pro team around Fields. He has to make those around him excel. Good point, John. Yep. I'd rather go with unknown than Fields, but Fields is great in the locker room. QB's most important position in all of sports. What's up, STC? Hands down. Good to see you. John, the most important position in football is QB1. We must draft Williams and perhaps an edge rusher at number 9. Very interesting. Remember, guys, you're welcome to join me. You're welcome to hop on into... Email me, sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. Just say, hey, look, I want to hop on in live, and we'll put you on right away with me. We had a good first call there from Mitch Trabersky, and looking forward to having more of you join me here today. Let's see. Why stick with proven failure? Oh, and then Justin Fields is 5th out of 4 teams. Oh, gosh. So who's better than Fields? Someone's backup? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and that goes back to our initial article where, we read that article. Yeah, I think Fields is the worst quarterback in this division today. So the question is, for the Bears, do you see enough potential in him for him to become number 1 one day, or do you just cut your losses and move on? I don't see enough potential in Justin Fields to overcome, well, let's see, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and then Jordan Love. If you do, that's awesome, but I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way for him. I don't think he's going to get to that point. Really. I'm not, yeah. No, Fields is not even a top 5 Bears quarterback. I just don't see it. So that's just me. It's an interesting debate, though. And I appreciate everybody having something to say. I do. The chat's been on fire here today. By the way, I want to do a quick shout out as well. Follow us all over, will you? Sports Talk Chicago. And really, we'd appreciate you subscribing to the channel, too. We're doing our best to grow it. You can hit the like button on this video, subscribe, support all of our affiliates at the top of your screen. We really appreciate you hanging out with us here today. We appreciate the subscriptions. We appreciate the likes. We're trying to get to 20,000 here. We're also trying to add some more radio stations, too. Our subscriber numbers have been going up. That's why all these stations are adding us, and we're looking forward to doing this more and more as well. So we appreciate y'all being here. We appreciate all your help in continuing to grow what we're doing today.
So let's talk about you, John.
Me?
You had some stuff coming up, and let's talk about what's in store for the next few months on Sports Talk Chicago.
Good idea, John Meadows. Thank you. By the way, guys, you're welcome still to email us too. We can squeeze you in and put you in. I do want to make some comments. So as you all know, I mentioned this on the Wednesday night show that went to the radio. So our radio listeners, our TV watchers, they know I'm going to be out for about a month. This is the last day for me for about a month. Actually, tomorrow I'm going in the morning for oral surgery. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be out for about a month. So in that time, now I want to say this too. You guys have been great because in times past, I've been out. And we haven't been able to put anything out, right? Because I've been out, and you guys have just come back when I've come back, which is awesome. I encourage all of you, and frankly, I implore all of you to stick with us because even while I'm out this time around, there will be people contributing content every single week, which is awesome. So Joey Christopoulos, who hosts Bear Down, Believe in Bears right here with Corey Wooten on this channel, he's going to be filling in for me for two of my syndicated shows. Okay, so Joey is going to be, going live, and he's going to be filling in. It's going to be like usual, the 3 segments, the 48 minutes, and then, we're going to put it out on this channel. So for those on the radio or TV who listen to me every week, you're going to hear Joey for a couple of weeks. After Joey, we're going to have Matt Cozy and Sam Olber, who host the Locked On Cubs podcast and are huge in the sports and Chicago media community. And they talk everything. It's not just going to be Cubs. And they're going to be hosting a couple of shows. And then I'm supposed to return tentatively in the middle of March. That's the goal right now. So there's going to be a lot going on this channel, even with me out of the picture temporarily. Joey's got some huge people lined up. He's planning on having a Caleb Williams and Justin Fields debate with somebody who actually knows about Caleb Williams out in Los Angeles because Joey lives in L.A. So Joey's going to have that on his first show filling in for me this week, which is going to be huge. Sam and Matt are they're a comedy team together, but they also know what they're talking about. They're really smart. They have been making waves here in Chicagoland. They just had a live show in St. Charles, not kidding. And they had a live one in Des Plaines as well. I think they might be coming even in studio here. So they do some great work too. So there are going to be a lot of cool things coming up on this channel even when I'm gone. And then when I come back, well, the draft's going to be right around the corner. It's going to be draft time already. So we're really, I just want to say that there's a lot that's going to be happening. And I'm so excited to give all of them an opportunity, to give them a shot, while also, getting a chance to still provide you all with good content when I'm gone, right? So, I just want to make sure that, I want to be transparent and open with all of you because I love you guys and I love your support and your help in growing what we're growing here. So, this is my last day. I go in tomorrow for the procedure. So although I'll be gone for a little bit, I won't be gone forever. And in my place, you will not be starved for content. That's the good thing. You will not be starved for content. We're going to have people here every single week delivering awesome content for you while I'm away. And I want to thank all of them too right now, Joey and Sam and Matt, for, really stepping up when I needed somebody to step up and fill in for me. That way our affiliates are happy, you're happy here on YouTube, and everything just continues to be a well-oiled machine here in STC land. So I appreciate all of that.
I want to make a comment to Nano out there. He says John's replacements are Fields apologists mostly. So sad.
We will miss you, John.
Joey is not a Fields apologist.
No.
Corey is probably a Fields apologist. To be fair to Corey, he is an ex-Bears player, and I've noticed with people who, some of the people that we've had on, people who've played in the NFL, and specifically even people who played for the Bears, they are a little bit. They are Fields apologists. I hate using that because I don't want to hate on people for I don't want to get mean with people for having like different opinions, stuff like that. That's not. I would like to think that's not how we roll at STC, but if we're talking about that Fields apologist things, like Corey is in that field, Chase Daniels is in that. They're definitely in that field. He has entire videos, and he does it with video breakdowns and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if I agree with it, but the point I was just making, Joey is not a Fields apologist, and the first show that he's doing, he's having a USC insider,
yes,
and going over Caleb Williams and stuff. So,
and I'll add to that, John, and I appreciate that remark. Here's what I love about STC. I'm open to having anybody on to talk about anything at all. That's kind of the goal with this. We're not for lack of a better term, we're not corporate media, right? So, I'm not going to be serving you an agenda or being like, oh no, I'm going to get in trouble because the Bears going to revoke my press passes. So I got to tell you the watered down truth because I can't say anything, right? So, all of these people who are going to be filling in for me, they're in that same boat. They're just speaking from their heart. They're speaking based on what they see. Nobody here is, for lack of a better term, paid off, right? So I support all ideas of thought. Whether you're a Fields lover, a Fields hater, whether you're this or that, it doesn't matter to me. That's kind of the thought project behind this whole thing when it started in my bedroom at 13 years old was, hey, no one's given me an opportunity. I'll make the opportunity myself and, grow an audience and have some fun with them. So, I'm just going to say that, if you don't agree, you don't like, you have a label, whatever it might be, that's fine. But I encourage you to still tune in and certainly support them because at the end of the day, I can guarantee you this. With Corey, with Joey, and with Matt and Sam, we're going to be doing stuff too. None of them are paid off, right? None of them are saying something watered down because they're worried about credentials. They're all speaking to you from the heart, and they're doing this for free. They're doing it for free. They're coming on and doing this for fun. So I will say that I would definitely give them a chance because they're going to be doing things differently and fun and in the spirit of STC, if you will, in terms of what we're trying to do here, which is giving everybody an opportunity and a voice and a chance to say what they want without worry of, oh no, the Bears are going to revoke my credentials, right? Or something along those lines. So I want to make sure I make that clear too. And hands down, I may not always agree with my guy, John, but the good thing is we can agree to disagree without being shamed. I'll be here, though, without your absence and when you return. Yeah, and that's the key, right? Here's what's so funny. You go on Twitter, you come on this chat, and the hatred is at an all-time high, man. I'll tell you. Then I go out into the street. When I actually talk to somebody face-to-face, I have a couple of people at my day job I talk to. People, literally, I run into fans sometimes. I ran into a fan a couple of months ago at a restaurant in the western suburbs, and we were talking. There's no hatred. There's no I'm going to kill you. There's none of that stuff. It's actually I'd say a pretty civil chat, and I would actually argue this, too, that there are a lot of people out there who are on the, hey, I think they got to move on from Fields. Not because they hate him, but because they're just like, look, he's gotten 3 years and, that's it. There is a small subset of people on social media who just push the Field stuff to the point where it becomes, threatening, right? And then it just seems as if that's the prevailing opinion. But I tell you this, if you go out and talk to anybody on the street face to face, go get a cup of coffee, go get some dinner, in the workplace, whatever, I can guarantee you that the spread is different, and also the ability to have a civil conversation is different as well. I will say that. That's just an observation. I don't have studies or research or quantifiable results, but But in terms of anecdotal evidence, in terms of observation, in terms of me going out and talking to people, I can tell you that the conversation is much different face-to-face in terms of that compared to the conversation on a chat or on Twitter, especially. And I'm getting sick of Twitter. I'll tell you that right now. I really am. Not because of the platforms changing, because of the people on there sometimes just drive me insane. It's difficult. Let's see here. Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to get some NFL talk in
yeah.
here.
Let's do
the
it.
Too much sauce.
Yes.
Is it time for the Niners to fire Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah, so Too Much Sauce, thank you for the donation. Here's what I'll say. Yep.
No.
Correct. And that's where I was going to go with this. Too Much Sauce, I really appreciate the donation. And what I will say is this. Kyle Shanahan, although he has not proven to win the big game, win the Super Bowl yet, he has gotten you there a couple of times with a bunch of different quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo's not a superstar, but he's good. Brock Purdy's not a superstar, but he's good. And he's worked with two different quarterbacks and led teams that were not supposed to make it to the Super Bowl to the Super Bowl. So in my opinion, he shouldn't go anywhere. And in my opinion, too, they shouldn't have even fired Steve Wilkes. I think that was a retaliatory, I'm mad I lost the Super Bowl, let's fire somebody decision.
That's BS.
When you make the Super Bowl and you lose, that means you're the second best team in football, right? So really, theoretically, nothing should change. Theoretically. I mean, I wouldn't change a thing. Look what the Bears did, right? 2006, make the Super Bowl next year, they go 7-9. Why? Because they changed everything. They fired people left, people went this way, that way, players didn't perform. Keep what you have. And I don't understand why Steve Wilkes is all of a sudden the problem. So that means that the Niners all year failed because of Steve Wilkes. That's what you're insinuating by making that firing. It's just like with Luke Getsy. You insinuate that Luke Getsy is the reason why you were bad, so you fire him, everybody else stays. It was only his fault. He's the one to blame. Get rid of him. And that's what the Niners did with Steve Wilkes, and I will argue this. If Steve Wilkes wasn't there, would they have made the Super Bowl? Fair question. Not going to get an answer, but a fair question. And instead of maybe thinking that one through, they just say, no, get rid of him. He's fired. Stupid move on their part. So should Kyle Shanahan be fired or should they move on? No, not yet. I mean, look, talk to me when his offensive model stops working. Talk to me when Brock Purdy becomes a disaster, right? Or when they bring in another quarterback and they just don't fit and then there's an issue. Until that time comes, I would almost argue he has a lifetime contract in San Francisco. Really. I mean, he has to do something really bad to finally get fired. Like, I'm talking about 3 or 4 years of just horrendousness for him to get fired. Until then, I expect him to be there for the long haul, in my opinion. I want to see this. Blue Wave says, a rival radio station strictly enforces Fields' envy and criticism is forbidden and censored. Very true. They will ban you there for stating Fields' stats that are negative. I've had a couple of people in this chat comment that they go on some of the radio stations, they'll comment on their Twitch or YouTube streams, they mention that Fields sucks, then they get banned. I think that's just horrible for this business. I don't want to go on a soapbox about the business because I know maybe you guys don't really care, but I will say that is horrible for this business. If you have a differing opinion, you shouldn't be silenced and said, oh, yeah, don't talk. You're just done. That's so offensive to me, right? Like, oh, Fields is banned. I'm so offended. You're banned. Can't be doing that. And the fact that some, outlets or stations kind of enforce that rule, it's actually troubling. And it doesn't go in the spirit of sports radio. When I have Mike North on this show, right, or Dan McNeil on this show, Mark Giangreco on this show, if you would have told any of them that, oh, yeah, now we're banning people for what they say, they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? The spirit of sports radio and sports talk is let's have a debate. Good or bad, let's have a debate. If it gets, inappropriate, that's a different story. But if we're just having a fun debate between two people, well, that's why people tune in, right? I'm not going to tune into a show that's just all one-sided, the same watered-down bullcrap. I'm not going to hear it because at that point, I might as well go do something else with my time. I'm going to tune in because there are differing opinions, because there are debates, because there is discussion and conversation. And if you're banning people because they have a different opinion than you, and that's scary, and that's troubling to me. I'll leave it at that. That's troubling. Let me see this comment here, too. Isn't it remarkable that none of the Bears' problems are Fields? He's only won 5 games this year and missed games due to injuries that he's caused. Polls, hurry up and trade him so we can get rid of half these clowns. Boston is the number one reason the Bears can't succeed. And Kurt Warner also suggests trading Fields. And you know what's funny about him? He flip-flopped. Because I remember during this season, there was some hatred spreading about Justin Fields. And, I remember Warner put out some sort of tweet saying, he's doing his best and you can't be trashing him. Now all of a sudden he says, well, if we're still questioning him, then you might as well trade him, right? And, that's kind of that's the truth. If we still don't know, if we're still trying to navigate what he is or what he isn't, hey, let him move on and let him find an opportunity too. As we said on this show this week, I am not opposed to Fields going to Pittsburgh or to Atlanta and then just killing it. I'd actually be happy for him because he'd probably be in a situation that would work better for him. That would actually work for him. I'm okay with that happening. But if he doesn't work out too, so be it either way, right? I want the best for him too. Is it the best for Justin Fields to stay here? Maybe not, right? You go to Atlanta, you go to Pittsburgh, where you have a ready-made team besides a quarterback. He can kind of hop in, plug and play, and maybe actually succeed. Maybe go to the playoffs. Not kidding. So I'm also trying to look out for his best interest too. I just know that I've seen enough to know that in a Bears uniform, not going to work. I've seen enough to make the determination that he is not the guy for this team. He could be better for somebody else. Hey, take a swing, see what he could do. If it doesn't work there, so be it. But there's an opportunity there, too. And I'm not opposed to another team coming on in and then having Fields do well there. That'd be great for him. Seriously, I'd be happy for him if it worked out. Mitch tried to kind of do that. It didn't work for him. Okay, so be it. It didn't work, right? Maybe it'll work for Fields, and maybe he'll be more successful leaving Chicago. And if that's the case, take it to the bank. That's great. Especially good for him in terms of, his own career legacy and who he is. And he could sit there and say, F you, Bears, you guys screwed me up, and I turned around and I killed it. I'm all for it. But over 3 years and 40 games, I've seen enough right now to say he's not the guy here in Chicago. That's all I'm trying to tell you. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's see here. Fields is also 27th rated QB in the NFL. Yeah, he's really improved. Fields haters are so emotional and angry. And Bears defense had 4 picks and no TDs versus the Vikings. And they only scored 9 points. Yeah, it's true. MVP, I don't hate Justin Fields. I just want him gone. I want the Bears to win. And you know what? Look, that's a fair point too, right? I think when we look back on all of this, all we want is a team that's actually going to win football games. All we want is a team that's going to win the division, that's going to win a Super Bowl someday. As crazy as it sounds, it may happen. And in order for it to happen, they need to win in the regular season. So far, they haven't. And they, unfortunately, haven't under Fields right now. So, I think everybody has a common goal. I think everybody wants the Bears to succeed. There's no doubt about it. And in order for that to happen, this team has to take steps to make it happen. Simple. They have to act. They can't just feel. If you feel instead of acting and doing things based on logic and rationality and reason, well, things aren't going to work out. So that's all. Fields QBR 23rd in the NFL out of 30 quarterbacks in 2023. Yeah, it's true. I bet you get banned for saying that comment in a different chat. But it's true. It's not a lie. You can't. It's not a lie. It's not like you're making up numbers, pulling them out of your ass. This is the truth of the matter. So, people have to, understand it, I guess, and acknowledge it. Maybe at least acknowledge it, that the numbers don't paint a pretty picture for Justin Fields. That's all. The numbers don't paint a pretty picture, and until they do, that stuff's going to be brought up. It is. It has to. You have to, in order to judge correctly on what he is here in Chicago. And again, we'll want to make one more shout out. If you want to join us here and have a debate on screen with me or just talk about whatever you'd like, email me sportstalkchicago1@gmail.com. I'd love to get your opinions. We already had Mitch Trubisky hop in today. We had 3 last week as well. Would love to have you on with me right now to talk about whatever you'd like, whether it's Bears, other sports, other teams, life, whatever it is, you can hop on in. Let's see here, too. Packer fans, keep Justin Fields. Hold the ball, slow release. You can't read defense after the first read. When routes of 10-yard stems before they develop paired with a horrible O-line, that means lots of hurries. Fields can't read the defense. Yeah. Half the NFL had a lesser-rated receiving core than the Bears, and that's true, too. You know, not saying that Justin Fields had it perfect, but he certainly had 2 go-to targets. Some quarterbacks have none. Fields had DJ Moore, and Fields had Cole Kmet. Those were his safety blankets, who did well, actually. Who actually played very well. There are some quarterbacks who don't have a safety blanket. Jordan Love didn't have a safety blanket. Jordan Love doesn't have a number 1 wide receiver. What did he do? Right? So the whole receiving core, not enough weapons excuse does not work here. Unfortunately, I know you want it to work, but it doesn't. They've had a number of players that Fields could throw to. Even Darnell Mooney, to an extent, he could have thrown to. You know, this is not the worst wide receiving core in football. There are far worse ones in the NFL on certain teams. So, right? Who are C.J. Stroud's wide receivers? Never heard of them. Exactly. It's the same thing. The Texans were supposed to suck this year. So, yeah, I just don't like that argument because it's not that it's lazy. I get the idea behind the argument. I just don't support it because how do you reconcile all these other teams and all these other quarterbacks who perform with less? That's the key, right? You could say that Justin Fields didn't have it perfect. I'm with you. But what about other quarterbacks who had less than even Fields had, and what did they do? And when you look at people like Jordan Love or C.J. Stroud, then you're like, oh, crap, what am I supposed to say about Justin Fields? That's the problem with that argument, to me, or that debate. Yeah, the Texans have the second most drops in football, and they still won the division, and C.J. Stroud did great. So C.J. Stroud dealt with more issues from a wide receiver perspective and performed better than Justin Fields.
Hey, that team that won the Super Bowl, how many drops did they have this season?
And they were the first in football. Chiefs had the most drops in all of football this year, and they just won the Super Bowl. So, you know, can't really make that argument. Can't really make that argument. And then we got people here saying, well, Justin Fields didn't have a wide receiving core. Pat Mahomes technically didn't then. C.J. Stroud didn't. Jordan Love didn't. And look what they did. Justin Fields had DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. And look what he did. Ouch. That's all I'm saying. Take it or leave it, I guess. But I'm just trying to point that out there. It's something to keep in mind. Throw more, drop more. It makes sense. Well, I mean, yes and no. But then whose fault is it that the Bears didn't throw more? It goes back to Fields because half the time Fields was scrambling. That's like during the season. They don't call enough passing plays. No, they called enough passing plays every game. Luke Getsy can't control Fields standing in the pocket for 8 seconds, then just running. That can't be controlled. That can't be taught or coached. It just happens. How many times did Fields drop back this season looking to pass, then just, all right, I'm going to tuck and run it? Right? He would have had similar numbers to somebody like a Pat Mahomes or whatever. You know, the Bears would have thrown the ball more as a team. They didn't because Fields ran more. So I'm just saying. You know, argument's not coming through. Running out of the shotgun on 3rd and long. How brilliant. That was a Luke Getsy thing for sure. Fields also ran on 3rd down and longs and missed too, though. So it goes both ways. Trade Justin field goals. Field goals. That's funny. Oh, that's a good one.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up now. Big shout out to Mitch Trubisky for joining us here today, live. Remember, just to stay tuned to the channel this week, as Joey Christopoulos is going to be filling in. I will not see you guys, at least on camera, for probably about a month. So I'm going to miss you guys. This was great fun Sunday stream to kind of cap things off moving forward. But make sure you tune in. Hit up all of our great radio and TV affiliates, too. 98.3 The Live, WKN, 105.5 The Ticket, ACTV, JTV, WJOB, Cities 92.9 Talk FM, and 101.1 Peoria Sports Radio. Follow us all over. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button as well. I will see you soon. For John Meadows, this is Jon Zaghloul signing off here on SDC. Until next time, so long.